Okay, so ready to dive into another one.
Always.
All right, let's do it. Today we're tackling the Elisa Lam case.
Oh, yeah.
It's a tough one.
Huh.
It's a tough one for sure.
Complicated one.
It is a very complicated one, yeah.
Elisa Lam, the young Canadian student, disappeared in LA in 2013.
Yeah.
Found later in a water tank on the roof of her hotel, the Cecil Hotel.
The Cecil.
Yeah.
Right.
Lots to unpack here. We've got articles, we've got reports, the timeline, the investigation, the public reaction, all that.
It's a lot, for sure. And I think our mission today is to really just try to figure out what we know.
Yes.
What are the facts of this case? Can we separate those facts from all the speculation that, it just runs rampant in this case?
Oh, yeah.
So where do we even begin? I guess we'll start with Elisa Lam herself.
Right. Born Lam Ho-Yi,
Hmm.
Vancouver, British Columbia, April 30th, 1991.
Okay, so she was, what, 21 when this happened?
21, yeah. And a student at UBC, the University of British Columbia, but not registered at the time, at the start of 2013.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So she's got this online presence. She had a blog called Ether Fields.
Yeah.
She wrote about, life, her struggles, and mental illness.
Right. And then later, she started a Tumblr Nouvelle Nouveau, more about, fashion quotes, that kind of thing.
Very Tumblr.
Yeah, very Tumblr. And you know what? She used the same epigraph for both.
Really?
A Chuck Palahniuk quote.
Oh, wow. Hardcore.
You're always haunted by the idea you're wasting your life. Kind of gives you a little, window maybe into what she was going through.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we know she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression.
Right.
Are quite a few medications. Wellbutrin, lamotrigine, quetiapine, dextrine spancel, venlafaxine. It's a long list.
It is a long list.
But her family maintained that she didn't have, suicidal thoughts.
Yeah, they kept her mental health struggles pretty private. They said no history of suicidal ideation or attempts, but there was one report of a prior disappearance.
Oh, interesting.
Briefly, though. Briefly.
Okay. But we know she struggled with taking her medication.
Right, and that, led to hallucinations sometimes, at least one hospitalization.
Right. That's important context for sure.
Absolutely.
So she goes on this trip to California.
Solo trip.
Yeah. By Amtrak and, those inner city buses.
Yeah, she went to the San Diego Zoo even.
Oh, really?
Posted some photos online. The whole, tourist thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then she arrives in L.A. on January 26th.
Checks into the Cecil.
The Cecil Hotel.
Or Stay on Main, as it was also known.
Right, right. And that place has, it's got its own reputation.
It's got baggage.
It really does. So initially, she's in a shared room on the 5th floor.
Shared room.
But 2 days later, they move her to a private room.
Yeah, because of complaints from roommates about her odd behavior, as the hotel lawyer put it.
Odd behavior, huh?
Yeah. And get this, the manager, Amy Price, she said Lam left these notes for her roommates, like, go home, go away. And she'd lock the door with a password. Like, what?
That's strange.
Super strange.
It's a hotel. You're not living there.
Right. Makes you wonder.
And then a few days before she disappears, she goes to a taping of
Conan O'Brien.
Yeah, the show in Burbank.
But she was escorted out.
What?
Disruptive behavior, apparently.
Oh, wow. So this pattern of odd behavior, it's definitely there.
Yeah, for sure. Leading up to the disappearance.
Right. But she was in daily contact with her parents until January 31st.
That was her checkout day.
Right. She was supposed to go to Santa Cruz, but they never hear from her. So on February 8th, they report her missing.
And the family flew to LA to help search.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
The last sighting was January 31st by hotel staff. Alone. Although there's also Katie Orphan, the manager of the last bookstore. She remembers seeing Lam that day, too. Said she was outgoing, very lively, very friendly, buying gifts.
See, that's what's so weird, right? Like 2 completely different pictures of her.
Yeah, the outgoing tourist and then this other side.
Right, right. So the police search her room. They use dogs. They even search the roof.
Yeah.
But nothing.
They couldn't search every room, though. Legally needed probable cause.
Of course.
So on February 6th, they put up flyers, try to get the public involved.
Okay. And then on February 13th, the LAPD releases the security footage, the elevator video.
The one that went, super viral.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's seen it. 2.5 minutes, Elisa in the elevator. And her behavior is just bizarre. Pressing all the buttons, looking out into the hallway, stepping out while the doors are open.
Coming back in, leaving again, and the doors finally close.
Yeah. And the internet, of course, explodes.
Theories everywhere.
Oh, tons.
Was she running from somewhat? Drugs, psychotic episode, bipolar disorder.
And some people thought the video was tampered with. Like, the timestamp's blurry, parts are slowed down.
Yeah.
Maybe even footage missing.
Right, the whole conspiracy angle.
Yeah. And then things take a really dark turn. Hotel guests start complaining about the water.
Low pressure, discolored. Some even said it tasted weird.
Like bad weird.
Yeah.
So on February 19th, a maintenance worker, Santiago Lopez, he's the one who finds Elisa Lam's body.
In one of the water tanks on the roof.
Those big, huge tanks.
4 of them, 1,000-gallon tanks.
Supplying water to the whole hotel?
Rooms, kitchen, even the coffee shop.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And the autopsy.
Accidental drowning. Bipolar disorder listed as a contributing factor. But the details are disturbing. Body found naked, but clothes like those in the video were in the tank, covered in like a sandy residue.
Okay.
Watch and room key were there too. Body was decomposed, bloated, but no physical trauma, no sexual assault, no sign of suicide.
Toxicology.
Traces of her medications, but the levels were low, suggesting maybe she wasn't taking them regularly. Non-prescription drugs, Sinutab, ibuprofen, tiny bit of alcohol, no recreational drugs.
Huh. Interesting. But, I mean, the big question, right, how did she get into the tank?
Right. The roof access was locked usually. Alarms. Maybe she went through the fire escape.
The dogs did lose her scent near a window to the fire escape.
Right. And then there's that video online showing the roof, open tank lids, accessible through the fire escape.
So it was possible.
It was possible.
But those tanks, they're not easy to get into.
No, huge cylinders on concrete blocks, no ladder. Workers used a separate one for checks. Heavy lids.
You can't close those from inside.
Not a chance. And the worker who found her said the lid was open.
But the dogs searched the roof before and found nothing. It's so confusing.
Yeah, so many questions still. Like, no drugs in the toxicology, but her behavior in the video.
Right.
And some people question the autopsy report itself. Like, where are the rape kit and fingernail kit results?
Yeah, it wasn't very clear on those.
And there was this detail about blood pooling.
Oh, right.
Subcutaneous pooling in the anal region.
Which, made some people think about sexual abuse.
Right, but apparently that can happen with decomposition too.
Okay.
And her rectum was prolapsed. But again, that can be a decomposition thing.
Right. I mean, it's just every little detail adds to the mystery.
And even the coroner's report, it wasn't super clear cut on the accidental drowning.
There's also that whole thing about her social media.
Yeah, her Tumblr, it kept updating after she disappeared.
Through the queue. Right. Like scheduled posts.
Right. But her phone was never found, so was it stolen, hacked, or just, the queue doing its thing?
Who knows?
It's weird, though.
It is weird. Okay, so then her parents file a lawsuit, wrongful death suit against the hotel.
September 2013, saying the hotel failed to keep guests safe.
But the hotel argues they couldn't have foreseen this. Like, how could they know she'd get into the water tank?
Right, and they didn't know how she got up there.
So the lawsuit's dismissed in 2015. But, you can't help but think about Dark Water.
The movie.
Yeah, the 2005 horror movie. It's like the same story. Body in a rooftop water tank, the whole thing.
It is pretty creepy how similar it is.
Right. And then there's all the other stuff, the Castle episode, Watershed, with the woman in the water tank.
And How to Get Away with Murder, the sorority girl, same thing.
Yeah. And in Hong Kong, there was that film Hungry Ghost Ritual with a scene like the elevator video.
And a planned Chinese film specifically about Elisa Lam.
Wow.
But it never got made.
And that shelved horror film, The Bringing.
Yeah, the detective going crazy trying to solve it.
So much interest in this case.
Right, and even music. The Zola's Ancient Mars video, they kind of imagined her last day.
Trying to show her as a person.
Yeah, not just this, internet mystery.
And Hail the Sun song, Disappearing Syndrome. They called it chilling and eerie.
Very fitting.
Yeah. And then there was all that buzz about American Horror Story, Hotel.
Season 5.
People thought it was based on Elisa Lam.
Set in a spooky hotel in downtown LA.
Yeah, and the creator, Ryan Murphy, even talked about a surveillance video of a woman in an elevator.
Who disappears?
It's too close,
Too close for comfort, maybe?
And then Sun Kill Moon, they had those songs, Window Sash Waits and Stranger Than Paradise, pushing a whole hoax theory.
Yeah, Mark Kozelek, the band member, said he believed nobody actually died in the tank.
And of course, we've got the paranormal shows BuzzFeed Unsolved did a whole episode.
And Ghost Adventures spent 2 hours investigating.
Yeah, they even stayed at the Cecil Hotel.
Brave souls.
Right. And then the horror film followed, used the actual elevator footage.
But added a supernatural twist.
Yeah, the Korean elevator game thing.
Right. And the video game, Yeek, a postmodern RPG, also had a similar disappearance.
Which, some people thought was pretty insensitive.
Understandably.
Yeah. And then, of course, we have the Netflix docuseries Crime Scene, The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel.
From 2021. Probably the most in-depth look at the case.
It covers everything.
Pretty much.
Oh, and even in literature, Mariana Enriquez's short story about a journalist investigating a cult at the Cecil Hotel.
Trying to contact Elisa Lam's spirit.
It's wild. I mean, this case, it's everywhere.
It really is. It's captured people's imaginations.
So let's try to sum up what we know. We know Elisa Lam disappears in the Cecil Hotel. We have that very strange elevator video, which we still don't really understand.
Right.
Her body's found in a locked rooftop water tank. And officially, it's an accidental drowning, with bipolar disorder as a factor.
Right, but we're still left with questions. How did she get to the roof? What about the video?
Yeah, and the investigation, the autopsy, they're not perfect.
They're not.
So, where does that leave us?
Wow.
Mental health crisis, foul play.
The Cecil's dark history.
There are so many possibilities. It's almost impossible to separate fact from fiction at this point.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point, isn't it? This case, it's a reminder that sometimes, even with all the information, we still don't have the answers.
Exactly. It makes you think, what draws us to these mysteries? Is it the need for closure?
Or the thrill of the unknown.
Maybe a bit of both. But I think ultimately it's about respecting the complexities.
Of mental health, of
Yeah.
human behavior, and of the fact that sometimes things just happen, and we may never fully understand why.
Yeah, it's a lot to process. But, that's what these deep dives are for, right? To really explore the nuances.
Absolutely. And to encourage you, our listeners, to keep thinking critically, keep asking questions, and keep searching for your own understanding of the truth.
So thanks for joining us on this one. It's been, it's been heavy,
It has.
but important nonetheless. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.
Until then.
Bye.